All right, this is part 2 of our algebra on our second day right here. Which of the following lines is parallel with the lines 2y plus 4x equals 3? You can solve for y equals mx plus b, and m is your slope, but notice all of these are not solved for y. So when it's in this form, I like to say ax plus by equals c, or in this case, by plus ax equals c. The slope is always opposite the number in front of x over the number in front of y. Okay, so the slope of this line is negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. Which of these guys have the same slope? This one right here. If we subtract a 2x from both sides, y equals negative 2x plus 3. So choice A on that one, okay? All right, so whoops, I didn't put that in its own page right there. Okay, anyway, so I think I can get this. So which of the following is a graph with the line of slope negative 1/2. Remember, slope is rise over run, so down 1 over 2. Okay, the only one that goes down 1 over 2, see this one goes down 2 over 1, it's not that one. This one goes up 1 over 2. The only one is this one, down 1 over 2. So choice D right there, okay? So if the point 24 is on the line, y equals 6x plus b, then b is what? So this is x, this is y. We're going to substitute those points in, and we get choice B. All right, so okay, so here, negative 3x is less than 5. Remember, we're going to solve for x. When you divide by this negative, it's going to flip this the other way, okay? So when we flip it around the other way, it gets us choice D right there, okay? Okay, so here we're going to solve for x. So what I did is I added 2x to both sides, so we get 1. Those cancel right there. Less than or equal to 2 plus 3x, and then we'll subtract 2, divide by 3, and we get x is greater than or equal to negative 1/3. Okay, so when we write it this way, it's going to get us choice A right there. Okay, so a car travels 80 miles per hour on 3 gallons of gas at the same rate. So I'm going to do this as a proportion. How many miles will it expected to travel on 5 gallons? There's other ways to do this. To me, it's easiest to teach it this way. Miles go on top, gallons go on top, bottom. So 80 miles for 3 gallons equals X miles for 5 gallons. Cross multiply, and 3 goes into 400. 133 with 1 left over. So start at the top and go clockwise. 133 and 1/3. Okay, choice D. I forgot to do that. That's choice D. All right, so a weather balloon is released and it rises in the air. It's recorded its temperatures in degrees Celsius. So as the balloon gets higher and higher and higher, it gets colder and colder and colder. Okay, as it gets higher and higher and higher, the temperature goes down. If the temperature continues to decrease at the same rate, what's it going to be at 5,500? So I just added another 1,000 and subtracted 3 degrees, and added another 1,000 and subtracted 3 degrees, okay? Now when I add 500, that's going to be half of 1,000. So I'm going to subtract half of 3, which is 1.5. So 11 minus 1.5 is 9.5, which is choice C. All right, so here we're going to plug this in. So it looks like I didn't do a separate page. So when we plug in negative 2, 5 minus a negative 2 is 7. Okay, negative 2 minus 8 is negative 10, but the absolute value negative 10 is positive 10, so 7 minus 10 is negative 3. Choice B, okay? All right, so this is the square root of this is 2x, the square root of this is 3x, 2x plus 3x gets us 5x, okay? All right, so here you guys, the square root of 100 is 10, so it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. So you can cross off those ones, all right? And when you square root a power, a variable to a power, you end up taking half of it because there's an imaginary 2 out here. 36 over 2 is going to get us 18, so it's going to get us choice C right there, okay? Or you can think of this, there's 18 pairs of x's that'll come out right there, so there's x to the 18th right there, okay? All right, so here we're going to plug in negative 2. I'll plug in negative 2 right there, and when you do that and correct it up, you get choice E. Okay, so factor this. This is a difference of squares. This is 2a squared. This is 3b squared. So it becomes 2a plus 3b, 2a minus 3b. So which one is a factor? The 2a plus 3b, okay? All right, here's another one. First, we got to GCF out a 2 first. So I'll pull a 2 out of that. 2 goes into that 9x squared minus 16. Here's a difference of squares. 3x plus 4, 3x minus 4. Okay, so 3x plus 4 is a factor. All right, so here we got to get common denominators, which this has 3x, this just has x, so I'm going to multiply this guy by 3 over 3. And when we do that, we get 2 over 3x minus 3 over 3x, which is 2 minus 3 over 3x, which is negative 1 over 3x, which is the same as negative 1 over 3x, okay? All right, so here I got common denominators. I made this a over a, so you'll see me do that right here. Here's a over a, so now we got a common denominator, a plus 1 over a, so I replaced it with that. Remember, this is a difference of squares, a plus 1, a minus 1, and then these a's cancel, the a plus 1's cancel. So we're left with, I'm out in my trailer, so I don't have any internet all of a sudden. That's all right. Anyways, choice B right there. Okay, we have company over and there's lots of talking, and so you don't need to hear the talking. Okay, so we're going to factor this and flip. Okay, so I'm going to GCF out a t, so this becomes t times t minus 1, and we're going to flip, and we get distribute the t squared back through. This t times this t is t squared. Okay, the 3's cancel. T to the third minus t squared is choice E. Okay, almost done, you guys. Okay, cross multiply. When you cross multiply, you get choice E. Okay, just saving time. So one solution, okay, so when you have factored already equals 0, set the factors equal to 0. And there's the two solutions, and the only one that matches is choice E. Okay, here we're going to square both sides. So when we square both sides, 4 squared is 16, and add 1 gets us 17. That one's easy. Okay, an apple falling from a tree h feet above the ground, t seconds after beginning falling is given by this formula. After how many seconds will it hit the ground? When it hits the ground, h equals 0, so we solve, set it equal to 0 and solve. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go plus 16t squared to both sides, and then divide by 16, square root, we get 2. Okay, it's actually plus or minus 2 for algebra, but you can't go negative 2 seconds, so the answer is choice B. Okay. All right, so a golf ball hits it, so when it's directly above the point, it's x feet from the golfer. It's given by that function. Okay, how far from the golfer where the ball hit the ground? Again, h equals 0, so we set it equal to 0. Okay, and then I added 1/10 x squared to both sides, so that gave me this, and then I multiplied both sides by 10, it gave me this, and we have a quadratic, so we set it equal to 0, gets me this, and we GCF out an x, gets me this, and set this equal to 0, this factor equal to 0, and so this is before he hits the ball, it's at 0, and this is after it comes back down to the ground, so 300 feet that guy's going to travel. Okay, which of the following represents all the values? Okay, so and I explain this to my kiddos, or my students, sorry you guys. So if an absolute value is less than or equal to some number 3, remember it's distance from 0. This says it's less than 3 units from 0 on a number line. So that means it's between negative 3 and positive 3. If it's greater than 3 units. So it's less than negative 3 to the left of it, and it's greater than positive 3. So here we have an inequality, an absolute value less than. So I'm going to follow this rule right here and put in the x minus 2 right here, negative 3 and positive 3, add 2 to both sides, and we get choice A between negative 1 and 5 right there. Okay, all right, almost done. Okay, so when it equals, we set it equal to plus or minus right there. Okay, so when we set it equal to plus or minus, remember, absolute values, there's always two parts, the positive part and the negative part. Okay, so plus 3 gets me negative 2, plus 3 gets me 8. So when you divide by 2, we get negative 1 or 4. Okay, so choice C, negative 1 or 4. All right. Couple more here. So, all right, so this is a substitution. I'm going to substitute in this x, 3 minus 2y, right there for that x, okay? Distribute the 3 through, okay, so 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times negative 2y is negative 6y, plus the 5y, and we get choice E on that guy, okay? Last one here for this one. All right, so here's a system of equations. I can make these both 4x's or make these both 15y's. It doesn't matter. I'm going to make them 4x's. In fact, I'm going to multiply this by negative 2 to get me a negative 4x, okay? But everything times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2 gets me that right there. And then slide this guy back down here, and then when we add them together, the 4x's cancel. we get y equals -3, and that's what they're asking for. Which one's y? So it's choice A. All right, you guys take care.